Part 2. On to the camera. So I'll start with my camera, the camera that I mainly shoot everything on. That's going to be the Canon EOS Rebel T5i. So I have two lenses. The lens that I'm shooting on right now is an 18 to 55 millimeter, but I do also have a telephoto lens. So let me show you that. It's gonna be longer. The wide angle lens is only about that big, just for reference. It does say 55 to 250 millimeters. So for reference, again, the one that I'm on right now is an 18 to 55 millimeter. This one right here is a 55 to 250 millimeter. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and swap over to this lens just really quick so that you can see the difference in the angle size. So I'll see you in just a minute. All right, here we go. All right, so now we have the telephoto lens and it's literally so cropped. I'm having to come all the way back here in the corner for you to like see me without me actually getting cut off. So I'll move forward, but see if I stand up, you know what I mean? I'm too tall. So I'm gonna move forward just so that you can kind of get a sense of that framing. All right, so let's go ahead and switch back to the wide angle really quick. All right, and we're back to the wide angle. So were you able to tell how different that framing style is? So this is just gonna be a much wider angle. You can see more in your frame, whereas with the telephoto lens, you're just gonna get a much closer shot. And it's also gonna give you that cinematic effect of having the foreground be in focus, whereas your background is slightly blurred. So that's gonna be the big thing that you get with that telephoto lens. So here's another really, really important part of any filmmaker's toolkit: batteries. This right here is the battery that came with my camera. You can tell because it's like a yellow case. And then these batteries, you can tell that the color is a little bit different. So I got one battery that came with my camera, and then a couple years later I bought a second battery so that I could have a backup, swapped between the two, everything was fine. But then when it got to the point where I was ready to start this channel, I knew that there was absolutely no way I would be able to survive off of two batteries. So I went ahead and bought, let me see if I have the box lying around. I do, I can show you the box. It's Power Extra is the brand. It's the box they came in. And it came with 4 batteries. One of them's actually on the charger right now, so I just have these 3 here. So right now, I have probably a halfway charged battery that's actively being used in my camera. I have a quarter of the way charged battery that's on the charger, and then I have 4 more fully charged batteries ready to go. But definitely invest in more than 2, especially when you don't have like a car charger. This is great for on location, for situations where you don't have a car, you don't have an outlet, you don't have a generator, you don't have a way to charge your batteries on the go, so definitely have backups. Another camera that I still have that I just never use, but I definitely could, is my Canon Vixia. So this is the camera that I had before I got my DSLR. This was my last Handycam, so I'll go ahead and show it to you. It's super cute, it's super lightweight and small and sleek. And it's HD. The video quality for a little Handycam is excellent. I remember being blown away when I got this camera. The footage with it versus another, like the last Handycam that I had before it, insane. Like the quality is insane. So this is the Canon Vixia HF-R300. Can't tell if you can see that. But like I said, it's a great Handycam. It's older. Now, if you are shopping for a Handycam, this is a great one. I would highly recommend it. Okay, and the last thing that I want to show you in my camera category, it's something that my papa gave me. This is a drone, and I don't honestly know how good it says HD. It says it's got an HD camera. So again, that could be a fun video, would be to see what kind of footage we can get with the drone. So if you're interested in us testing this drone out, let me know in the comments down below and we can try to make that happen. So, the Lacy hard drives. I cannot recommend these enough. So this one here is the 2 terabyte. Whatever you are doing creatively, I would suggest getting one of these. They have all different sizes, different price points, but they're invaluable. So I'll briefly mention the post-production programs that I use. I do all of my editing on Final Cut Pro. In college, I learned on Final Cut, but it wasn't Final Cut 10. It was Final Cut 7, which was like the $1,000 like suite where everything was not simplified and it was like the old way of doing things. And then like a couple years later, they came out with Final Cut 10 and I was like, I just have to be thankful that it's easier now, I guess. But I kind of wish that I would have been able to learn on the easier version just because I feel like I'd be more of an expert now. A lot of what I know editing-wise, I'm self-taught, even though I took an entire year in college, because I only went to college for a year, but I did take an entire year of editing. So yeah, I use Final Cut 10. It's amazing. If you've ever used iMovie, you'll be able to learn Final Cut 10. I'll definitely be doing editing tutorials, Final Cut tutorials down the line, so stay tuned for that. In addition to Final Cut, I also use Lightroom and Photoshop Elements to edit my photos. And then I also pay $12 a month for Canva Pro in order to get transparent backgrounds and be able to resize my files and documents. I do pay for Canva, but you can definitely use the free version when you're just starting out just to get accustomed to it and figure out what you like. So those are just a few of the programs that I use, but if I can think of any others, I'll make sure to list them in the description bar down below. Alright, so we've made it to the last section. This is all about miscellaneous items. There's a lot of uncategorized gear that I have. So we'll go ahead and start with one of the most important. That's gonna be the memory card. So this one is Sony brand, 64 gigabytes, but the one that's in my camera is actually 128 gigabytes. So I went up, I knew I needed more space for the YouTube channel, so I upgraded a little bit. That actually brings me to a related item, which is this cute little case. When you open it up, it's actually a case for your cards. So if you have a lot of cards, this is something that you should think about getting. Another miscellaneous item, gaff tape. It's tape that's used universally on a film set. So a couple uses. You can use gaff tape to tape down electrical cord, to mark your mark, make a little T on the floor, and that's where you're supposed to stand. But yeah, many uses for gaff tape. This is my hair and makeup kit. So like I said, the way I've made movies over the last 20 years is that I've never had a group of friends interested in film. I've never had people who have the same level of interest as me when it comes to making movies and telling stories. And because of that, I've been forced to learn how to do all areas of filmmaking by myself. That's why I have a hair and makeup kit, because I had to do it all, essentially. I'm not gonna pull everything out because it's a lot of old stuff. It's a lot of dollar store stuff. I went and I got a lot of cheap makeup in different shades. Things like eyeshadow applicators. I've got mascara wands, beauty blender, floss. Literally floss. It definitely comes in handy when you have nothing else. So I have a bunch of these. Ooh, definitely has sand in it still, but sandbags. Sand everywhere on my rug. Yeah, you can see the sand all over it right here. But this is what it looks like.
I don't like sand.
There's sand in my pants now.
And it gets everywhere.
Oh no, there's sand everywhere. Okay, well, that's why it's called a sandbag. Yeah, basically you fill those up with sand and that makes them like heavy, and then you can use them to hold down C-stands and tripods and different things that have expensive equipment on the end that could break if it topples over. So that's what a sandbag is for, is just holding things down. And what else do I have in here? Just more sand. Okay, so here's something. This backdrop. So the backdrop is paper. The stand is by the brand Limo Studio. So this is the case. It technically has 2 more poles, which means it can extend out 2 more poles worth, so it can double in size, this backdrop, or the backdrop stand. The backdrop itself, I just got a small one for the channel, but I could definitely get a bigger one if I needed. Like down the line, we're gonna be making these micro shorts based on an idea that I have for a TV show. And at that point, we're gonna get a green screen, and I think that we need to get the bigger version at that point. So this thing is my tripod. I know that my camera is sitting on a tripod right now. That's the first tripod that I ever bought. It's a very, very basic photography tripod, like super simple, opens, you put the camera on top. This thing is my Ravelli. So this thing is huge, it's extremely heavy, and I honestly only pull it out if I'm making a movie. I do not pull this out for the YouTube channel. There's no reason for it. It's like tied into this bag right now because it's so big. Let me move the bag. All right, look at the ends, okay? The ends alone. So they move, all right? They're rubber, but if I want, I can screw, a little spike is coming out. You see that? So they can literally spike into the ground. They can spike into grass or dirt to keep that tripod in place. Or you can just have it be rubber for flooring. And look at how heavy duty this thing is. Oh man. And then here's the crazy thing with this. Instead of one little arm, it's got two. Look at this. I'd probably have to turn a bunch of knobs to activate it, but it has a fluid head. So what that means is when you have a normal photography tripod and you're trying to do a smooth pan, do you ever notice that maybe it goes, it sticks, right? And you're not gonna get that smooth pan that you're looking for, but you are with the Ravelli. So this thing, oh, I just hit myself in the throat. So yeah, this thing, it gives you like that smooth transition you're looking for. You can go up, down, side to side, you can move in circles, and it will do it so smooth that it looks like it's a professional film. So I'm gonna fold this thing back up because he needs to go back to bed. Here's something that comes in handy. I should realistically invest in more of these clamps. Right now, I've got two holding up my backdrop so that the paper doesn't just fall. Clamps. You use them. But yeah, I mean, a clamp is self-explanatory. It clamps down on things. So anything that you can imagine on a movie set, things needing to be clamped down on, a clamp will clamp down on it. Walkie-talkies. Walkie-talkies are really useful, especially if you have a big crew. Now, if it's just like you by yourself or you and like one other person, don't worry about walkie-talkies. But I'm talking about like the last movie that I made. We were operating in a big house, and this house had an upstairs, downstairs, and outside. We had multiple people in different rooms, and there were moments where if we didn't have quick communication, like texting is not quick communication when it comes to a movie set. Like if we didn't have walkie-talkie fast communication, it would have slowed things down so much. So just having the walkie-talkie where you can immediately find out where someone is, you can immediately call someone to a specific room. Hey, I need this actor in this room right now. That's what walkie-talkies are for. So they are super helpful. Make sure you pick up a pair. The very last thing that is invaluable on an independent filmmaker set, it's the people. It's the team you are working with. Whether that team is you alone or 10 people, 30 people, whatever the case may be, whatever those people are that you're working with, those people are more valuable than any gear that you will have. You can sit there and collect all the gear in the world. You could spend thousands of dollars, but if you don't know how to use it, if you don't have dedicated people who know how to take that piece of equipment and get the best possible quality out of it, then what's the point? So just keep that in mind as you're creating and as you're collecting and you're building your kit, because you don't need as much stuff as I have. Like, you honestly don't. When you're just starting out, you do not need this vast of a film kit. But I would recommend having a good camera, a good microphone, a good editing program, and a good lighting system. Put those 4 systems into place and you'll know you're on the right track. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed getting a little glimpse into my equipment closet and seeing all of the gear that I've been collecting over the last decade. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more film, acting, and entertainment related content coming at you every single week. New videos are posted every Monday and Thursday, so I will see you in the next one. All right, bye guys. Canon zoom lens, EFS 18 to 55 milliliter. Milliliter. I said milliliter. I meant millimeter.